My name is Louis. Everyone calls me Junior. My shop's called The Lions Den. We have two locations, Cliffside Park and one in Hoboken, that we opened in the spring of 2021.
Okay. And what services does your business specialize in? Products?
Men's hair cutting, hot towel shaves. We specialize in bringing back like the old world style of barbering, like the grooming, the experience that was given back in those days. Except for like the bloodletting and the surgeon aspect of what barbers were at one time. But we try to give that nostalgic feel and provide that experience that our grandfathers and their fathers used to get when they would go in their time.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that this is your second location?
This is our second location. First location of Lions Den was opened in 2019 in Cliffside Park, and we merged businesses. I was a barbershop called Crew Hair Studios, and we had that location for 10 years. And my business partner and I, Victor, we created a brand together. It was just our ideas that we would just sit and speak about, and we were like, you know what, let's just create something that will provide an experience that'll go above and beyond just the everyday service at your local barbershop. And this is the brainchild. So we merged in 2019, and throughout the pandemic, we weren't able to launch the location in Hoboken. We actually stopped mid renovation of the space that we're in right now. So luckily we were able to rebound and push forward and still be able to open. So by the spring of 2021, you'll see Lions Den Hoboken.
Mm-hmm. And could you talk a bit about the clientele that you're hoping to attract and the experience you're giving them as a kind of social barber shop?
I mean, we try to make everyone feel welcome. There's not no set demographic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're selling an experience, and if you're able to afford the experience, then you'll experience it, right? So, I guess we put a price point that is fair to our staff and ourselves because we're owner operators, and it's more so the time than anything we're charging for. It's not something astronomical that like the everyday working man can't afford. You know what I mean? It's just if he sees the value in it. So that's it. It's just you come in, you greeted, they offer you water, cater to you, and make you feel like you're part of you're part of the family, you're part of the pride. You know what I mean? Part of the Lions Den pride. So that's what we get. That's what the demographic we're going for. People that are gonna appreciate what we have to offer within the services that we have and the dedication to provide those services and how we execute that. So.
And what drew you to starting a business in the Hudson County area?
Well, I'm born and raised here in Hoboken. My family came here in, I want to say like the early 60s, and they've been here ever since. I mean, my grandfather on my paternal side owned businesses here in the city. He had properties and stuff like that. So it was kind of like natural for me to want to do business in my town. You know what I mean? Like it was something that I saw growing up. You know what I mean? And at the time that I was opening my original shop, there weren't really many barbershops, that specialized in urban cuts and, like professional haircut in the sense of, blue collar guy or white collar guy. So there weren't places that would provide a barber that can cut both. So if you got like a 2 on the sides and you had like an executive haircut, that was like the normal. But to get like an aggressive fade, like something like what I have now, like a skin fade or something like that, there weren't many places, if any, that did them. So I was like, you know what? I saw the need and I was trying to fill that gap. And eventually we evolved and we outgrew the space that we were in, and it was just like everything was lined up for us to become the Lions Den. You know what I mean? And elevate what we were trying to do 10 years ago.
And what challenges can you say you've faced as a small business owner with either previous businesses or this current project?
I mean, I think, well, I know the most difficult thing to overcome in business is the fear of making that dream come to life. Starting, where do I go? Who do I speak to? How do I start it? You know what I mean? And lining yourself up with people who can mentor you. You know what I mean? To be able to execute. You know, like you can have 1,000 dreams, but if you don't execute, then you're wasting your time. You know what I mean? You hurt yourself because you burn money, and then the heartache of just the loss, the failure. You know what I mean? For lack of better words, but that's what Like I had a business in Union City back in 2009 that I was trying to establish, which is barbershop, my first shop, and not knowing really what I was doing and stuff like that, it didn't come to fruition. But I picked myself up and I found a location here in town that I was fortunate. I got lucky. I learned from my first mistakes of what I didn't do, and I learned what to do. And then we opened, and things were going good. 5 years in, we opened another location on Bergline. And our time passed there. It was time to move on to something more lucrative, and we closed the doors. And then the pandemic hit right when we found the location to be able to execute. You know what I mean? Those dreams. But I mean, in any business, the hardest thing I would say is starting and then maintaining, because if you want the longevity is in the consistency that you execute on a daily basis. So if you have good haircuts and that's what you're known for, then you have to provide that 90% of the time. You know what I mean? Because to say 100 is unrealistic. Because if you made everybody happy that walked through your doors, something's wrong. You know what I mean? Like you read those reviews, you're like, nah, these might be bought. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's pretty much been the hardest thing. It's just like staying the course. Once you pass that threshold of opening.
And speaking again about the struggle with the pandemic, were you operating another storefront at that time, or were you totally focused on or intended on opening this?
Well, we had the location in Cliffside Park. My business partner Vic up there, and we were more focused on, honestly. We were more concerned with how we were gonna be able to help our staff maintain, their day-to-day lives and ourselves as well. So the business in itself wasn't really as important as the survival that we had to go through, because everyone in my staff has a family. They have their own livelihood to worry about. So my focus was more on being able to recoup and have something so that when the storm was over, they had a roof to be able to go back to business and conduct on a daily basis. For as whatever the new normal is. You know what I mean? So I had the location, but I was focused on the location that we're at now before we move over. Which was more. It was more like, okay, if we can't get the place because whatever happens through the pandemic and however many months of rent it will be owed or whatever, then it wasn't a concern. You know what I mean? Like if that door closes, another one open. But just making sure we have something for my team to be able to move around and make money for themselves to catch up on their bills and stuff like that. Because a lot of barbers didn't get PPP loans or get SBA loans and stuff like that. Some of them weren't that fortunate. So that's what was important to myself and my partner during this whole pandemic, this whole crisis we went through. It was being able to have something to come back to. So
Now, you've mentioned owning businesses, Bergen Line and throughout Hudson County. What are some of the positives you can say of working in the area, having a business in the area?
uh the people, you get to connect with different people of different walks of the world, like Hoboken is one of the biggest melting pots in the United States. You know what I mean? Like the amount of people that go through the city on a daily basis is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like we have the waterway, we have the subway, we have the tunnels. So a lot of people go through the city every day, and we're fortunate to be able to mix and brush elbows and shoulders with all different type of people, man. You know what I mean? So that's the positive in it.
And do you have are there any moments that really stand out to you, either working in this town or elsewhere, clients, any celebrity clients?
I've had a few celebrity clients before. I mean, the people working, man, stands out to me more because while you can cut a celebrity, that's cool. I mean, every barber wants to cut a celebrity. It's like that's their rite of passage. The long game is in the everyday man. You know what I mean? While it's nice to cater to celebrities when they'll call you 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, hey, can you come out? Yeah, that's nice. But the longevity is in the everyday man. The guy that wakes up 9 to 5, goes to work, punches the clock, he comes in to your establishment, he appreciates the experience that you're trying to give him, that you're trying to provide. You know what I mean? Like that's always been more intriguing to me than cutting the celebrity. Because with a celebrity, when you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. So when there's a buzz for your name, it's cool. But when things simmer down, what are you left with? You know what I mean? So I looked at it like that when I in earlier days of my career. You know what I mean? Like every now I have a few guys that are still they ex-ball players and stuff like that do music and they still come through. You know what I mean? But like I said, my main focus in business has always been the everyday guy. I treat them the same at the end of the day because when you're paying for the time, you're gonna get the same experience. So I'm not gonna treat you better because you're Kenny G and he's Jose from around the corner. You know what I mean? I have to give you the same respect, the same experience because you're paying the same price when you come through these doors. So yeah.
And for the final question, I know that right now the current focus is to open the storefront, but once this is taken sale, do you have any plans for the future, possibly opening another storefront, or just if you can speak on that?
Well, now I wish Victor was here right now. As I tell you, we could speak about that all day. But absolutely. We look at this is the thing. Our why is we don't want to just take a barber and have him be a barber for 30, 40 years under us, right? We want to take a guy in, or female, doesn't matter. We want to take a stylist in, and if we can build them up and work on whatever their weaknesses are, but create a partner. You know what I mean? Create a partner so that the name will live on. Somebody that gone through the trenches with us and building and excavating and building the brand and say, hey, look, we have an opportunity in Morristown or in New York or, somewhere in the tri-state area. And we're like, would you like to be a part of that? So of course we want to open more, but we want to open more within our team. You know what I mean? More than just franchising and just whatever Joe Schmo comes in has the money to buy it, but doesn't have the love for it. That's not what we're interested in. We want to open with people that already love the brand, that fight for the brand, that are the brand, because in turn they really are the motor, they're the engine. So that's what we look to open with people like that, our own guys, and girls. So yeah, we definitely want to open more. I wish we could open one every year, and each one lasts 30, 40 years. You know what I mean? So that's definitely in the fold. When? Only God knows.
Well, that's it for my questions. So, Junior, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure.